Well, listen, I have a video I want to show you this morning. How many people love watching documentaries? There's some folks that love documentaries. Yeah, you love to learn something. How many middle-aged women out there enjoy watching documentaries about wives who kill their husbands and families, right? If Kelly was here, she'd be raising her hand for sure, which I'm going to cancel some of our online streaming subscriptions here pretty soon. I want to play a documentary video for you, just a real short one of my favorite videos that came out a few years ago. You love nature? You're going to love this. So let's turn the lights down so we can see it really well. We're operating on one screen. Just so you know, we're getting closer. We'll be making some movement here pretty soon. But turn this video on, one of my favorite nature videos.
For me, nature is one of the neatest things on this planet. That's why Rodney and I started Nature Walk, because we want everyone to know how neat nature is, instead of just me and Rodney knowing it. How neat is that? That's pretty neat. Without a doubt, coming out into nature is one of the neatest things there is to do. But you also have to be careful. That's why I always try to pack a gun. It's just a little bit, pack some heat. Now this isn't much of a big boy. I don't want to kill the animal, but I do want to warn it and say, hey, I think you're pretty neat, but I respect your distance. There's bears out here, there's mountain cougars, and biting goats. How neat is that? That's pretty neat. Oh, wow, score. Look at this. This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is. Wow. Wow. What a beaut. You know, it'd be a great capper to a great day. It'd be seeing a wild animal. I always get real excited at the opportunity to maybe see an antelope or a fox, or some sort of mountain beast. So what I do sometimes is I'll try to, shake things up a little bit, get the earth moving, and call out to them, Here we go. Up, up, up. Hip. Hip, hip, hip. Come on.
Yeah, Lenny.
Come on, girl. Nothing.
All right, so we don't have time for the whole video, but that's called Nature Walk. You can find it on YouTube. And I love that guy's style, obviously. If you can look up there, this was the one, when that video first came out, I led a retreat. And so that was my promo pick for that retreat. It's a good look for me. I'm going to try to go with that a little more. Well, so we're going to talk about our core value, the journey, today. And this is our next core value in our sermon series. Here's what it says. We win when we help each other on the journey. There are 101 another's in the New Testament. 59 of those are specific instructions on how we can serve and love one another. We recognize that not just our belonging, but our strength as a family comes from joining one another on the journey, helping each other take one step closer to Jesus. And our strength is in the collective, the community of faith that encourages one another, bears one another's burdens, and picks us up when we fall. Let me share some scriptures with you real quick, because these scriptures are important for us to hear today as we walk this journey with one another. So a few real quick scriptures. Several of you have been asking for me to email stuff, and I can do that to you, do that for you if you ask me after church today. Here's some scriptures. Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. This is about us joining each other on the journey. Share each other's burdens, and in this way obey the law of Christ. Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. So encourage each other and build each other up, just as you are already doing. Galatians 6:9. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. And at just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Romans chapter 12, verse 10, love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. Hebrews 13, 16, and don't forget to do good and to share with those in need. There are sacrifices that please God. These are the sacrifices that please God. And then finally, we've read the scripture quite a bit, John chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. This is my commandment, love each other in the same way, Jesus saying, in the same way that I've loved you. There's no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And so all through the New Testament, 100 different one another's, places that it's talking to us about helping each other on the journey. So let me ask you this question. How many people enjoy hiking? All right, a few of us. All right, we can start a hiking club maybe. And, how many people enjoy hiking, in beautiful weather, in ugly weather, in the snow, in the rain? Are there any avid hikers out there that's just like, you're all about it? Okay. I want to tell you a couple hiking stories. I want to tell you about my most expensive hiking story that I ever had. And I always try to go along many times with getting the stuff. I don't know about you, but I'm a teetotaler when it comes to the idea of whatever it is I'm going to do. It's normally short-lived, and some of you have people like that in your life that you start, like I decided, 15, 20 years ago that I wanted to be all about paintball. So I've got massive guns and stuff sitting over in the garage that I've not touched for about 19 years because I had to get it all. Hiking was the same way. I started watching, when I talked about documentaries, I used to watch Man vs. Wild. Anybody ever watch that? Where Bear Grylls would go out and survive, and I would watch that every day, and I'd be like, I could do this. I could do that. And at the same time, I'm the guy who gets really upset when I come back from a day on vacation and the maid hasn't cleaned my room and made my bed. So I'm not sure if I could do that, right? But I got really into hiking there for a little bit. And so when we lived out in Colorado Springs, of course, we got the Rocky Mountains. We used to go to a place called Waldo Canyon. And so one day, me and Kelly and my nephew Keith had came out, and he was living with us for a little bit, and so we went hiking at Waldo Canyon. And so it was going to be a great day. It's an 11-mile hike. I know you're like, Brian, you could not do an 11-mile hike. There's like 100 pounds ago, guys, and so I could do it. And so I went out, and we parked early in the morning. This is Waldo Canyon, beautiful place. We started hiking out there. This is a big 11-mile loop. And so while we're out there, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit today, I always am up for an adventure, and I was like, the trail is good, but I bet there's better stuff to see off the trail, which totally against it goes, the idea of why they made the trail in the first place. But I was like, let's not stay on the trail. Let's do something different. And so we take off on the trail, and we find like this whirlpool thing out there, and I mean, it was beautiful. And then I was like, we got to get back on the trail, but I think I know a shortcut. And the reason I thought I knew a shortcut was for no reason whatsoever. I'd never seen a map. I didn't know where I was at the time. I had a pretty good idea that mountain looked like the one that we were on. But I don't know if you've ever been in the middle of the mountains. Guess what? They all look just like the mountain you were just on. So we took off and we started going around, and we found this like little switchback area that we could get back on the trail. It was going to be good. And I'm a gentleman. My wife is with me. I'm helping her get around. It's a very little ledge, narrow little ledge. And so we are moving our way back up to get on the trail. There's these big sagebrush areas out there. And so I decided I'm going to pull the brush back for Kelly to get around. That's what good husbands do. And it was loose and gravelly, and the little ledge I was standing on. And then all of a sudden, the ground breaks away, and I go down the Rocky Mountains and slide down into an area. Now, I'll leave it to your imagination, but let's just say it probably wasn't as big a deal as you think it is. But I did wind up getting some pretty awesome scars on my legs from it. So I'm bleeding all over the place. My nephew Keith and Kelly are trying to help me, and I get back up to the top. I mean, there's blood and gravel and dirt and everything in it. And I was like, I need to build, like I'm thinking WWBGD, what would Bear Grylls do, right? And so I said, I need to make a tourniquet. I think that's how you pronounce it, to stop this bleeding. And so I say to my nephew Keith, take your shirt off. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, you're the one who did it. And I was like, this is a nice shirt. your shirt is dumb, so take your shirt off. And so I pull my knife out and I'm ripping his shirt off as he stands there, a skinny little 21-year-old with no muscle definition. And I was like, give me your shirt. So I wrap it all up. And so we're moving back out, and then I'm getting tired. And so I sit down on a ball cactus. Do you know what a ball cactus is? Don't sit on them, I'll tell you that. And if you do sit on them, you better be ready to indecently expose yourself on a public national park trail, because you got to get those things out. So, pins in my backside, blood soaking my nephew's shirt. We continue to walk out of this trail. We get to the top. I can see the parking lot. We're almost there. Kelly is, a woman, so she's like, hey, listen, we need to take care of this. And I am a man, be like, we'll get around to it. I mean, I already got this shirt. And I had a backpack full of MREs. And for anybody who served military, you know exactly, meals ready to eat. I love those things. They're like 60 billion calories each. And some people don't like them, I love them. So I pulled one out and I was like, hey, a little chemical heater here. Let's have a little lunch. And so I ate some beef stew, and then I ate another one, and it was really good. So we get back down to the bottom, and I'm just going to go to an urgent care. So I go to the urgent care, or thought I was going to go to urgent care, and the door was locked and nobody was there. So now I had to go to the emergency room. I'm telling you all that because my copay was $10 at urgent care. My copay was $500 at an emergency room. So that was the most expensive hiking trip that I ever took. But I do have an awesome scar on my leg that I can show you if you're interested in seeing it. It just didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. Another time we were out at Ramsey's Cascade in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I think I may have mentioned this once before. My brother calls me. He's like, you want to go hiking? I'm like, yeah, certainly do. We lived in Oak Ridge at the time. We met over in Gatlinburg, went to Ramsey's Cascade. I bring a couple of my kids. I had little tiny baby Annabelle and Cody, who was a little bit older, but still also acted like a baby once you get about 1.5 miles into the trail. You know how the kids are. And so we get out there, and this is just straight up and straight down. And so after about 1 mile, I was carrying Annabelle, but, and you'd be surprised, a little baby that weighs about 25 pounds gets super heavy when you're on a hike going straight up a hill. Cody gets to a place where he's like, I can't walk anymore. And I'm like, listen, son, we buy your pants at the Husky section at Old Navy, so I don't know what to tell you. Like, we can't just strap you on our backs, but we did. Cody actually thought Husky was a name brand, so don't ever tell him differently. So we did. We carried that sucker out of there, and we got back, and we had to deal with the pain. So I want to talk about hiking. I want to talk about the journey a little bit. So we talked about the fact that several of you guys enjoy hiking. How many people enjoy hiking just by yourself? Raise your hand. Just alone, out on a trail. How many people like hiking with a group? We've got some group hikers out here. I think it's more fun to hike with a group, but it depends on the group, doesn't it? So I want to talk to you about some characters that you're going to find on a hiking trip. And we got a little thing that we'll show for every one of them. Here's what I guarantee. If you're a hiker or you've been on a hiking trip or somebody's talked you into a hiking trip, you're going to recognize these characters, and you're probably going to identify with one or two or more of them. So here we go. The very first one, the self-appointed line leader. You know who that is. They're in your family. They're the person who just tries to walk a little quicker than everybody else, and they get up to the front. And even though no one asked them to be the leader, they're the leader. I find that the majority of the time, the people who's the self-appointed line leader normally is the last person that any of us would want to be the line leader, And but still, they forge ahead, and they're just going to show us how to do it and where to go, and we just follow blindly behind them. The second one is the Speedy Gonzales. Remember Speedy Gonzales? Watch that cartoon growing up when you were a kid? Speedy Gonzales ran exceptionally fast. I don't know if you ever hike with somebody like that. It's like, this isn't a race. We're out here to enjoy nature because it's neat, right? And so we want to go out and we want to take our time and we want to enjoy nature. But this one person, it's like they're Usain Bolt when they get out on the trail. They're just running as fast as they can. You're like, why did you even come with us? Why'd you come with the group at all? You're 2 miles ahead of us. There's always that person. Then there's Speedy's cousin, Slowpoke Rodriguez. You remember Slowpoke Rodriguez? Some of you guys are Slowpoke Rodriguez, and you know who you are. And you know who you are because your family always turns around like, would you hurry up, please? Would you hurry up? Slowpoke Rodriguez went at his own pace. He went pretty slow the whole time, and and some of these hikers do the same thing. The next one sounds kind of similar to the line leader, but this is the self-appointed navigator. This is the person who knows how to get to places, or at least they think they do, right? And you know who that person is. They're in your family as well. Like, we get ready to go on a trail. Listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know that if all of this is forest, and this right here is concrete or gravel or dirt, and there's a wooden sign with an arrow pointing this way, like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that that's where we walk, right? But the navigator is the one who's like, stops every little bit and be like, let's see which way we're going to go. And then there's somebody like me who's like, hey, I got an idea. How about that way where the sign's pointing? Should we go there? Maybe that's a good way to go on the trail. It looks like some other people maybe done that once or twice. So you got the self-appointed navigator. Then you got the one who's not in a hurry and just wants to enjoy the hike. I kind of like that person, as long as I don't have anywhere else to be. Some of you hike with that person, and they're just, they pick up everything. They're on the trail, they're enjoying the moments, and they're breathing in the fresh air, and is that pine that I smell? And they're picking stuff up and showing us leaves, and it's kind of cool at the first maybe quarter mile of it. After 2 or 3 miles of it, you're like, I've seen a leaf before. Like, I know what leaves look like, so let's just kind of move on. There's always that one person. They're just enjoying the moment, and they're kind of fun to have around, and they're kind of frustrating at times too. Then there is the frequent break taker. You guys know this person, who you go just a little bit, and this is the person, and I'm not going to tell you how I know how this person thinks and feels. I know somebody. I got a friend like that. But this is the person out on the trail that when you're walking on the trail with them, that you walk just a little ways, and maybe you walk up some steps and you get to a new place, and they're like, and they try to do it like this. First of all, they're trying to not let you know that they're breathing, actually. So they're like, hey guys, why don't we, this is pretty. Let's enjoy this nature for a little bit. And you're thinking, didn't we just enjoy nature at the bottom of these steps? Like, why we got to take another break? So there's the frequent break taker. Then there's the daredevil. Every family has one of these guys or gals that's in your family. This is the one that we're all on the trail together. We're walking, we're enjoying our time together. And then you turn around and you see them and you're like, how'd you even get up there? Like, how did that happen? As a guy who was youth pastor for 22 years, I always had several of these daredevils that was with me when we would go hiking. This is the person that just gets out there and they're doing stuff, and you're like, I don't know why you're there, Then there's the trailblazer. This is kind of similar to the navigator. I think we're off here a little bit. Let's go back. I think the trailblazer is the last one. That's it, yeah. That's the trailblazer. He's the guy or the girl who, sees just like I do that the trail is nice, but I bet there's other stuff that we could look at as well. And they never take you down a good path. I'm just going to tell you right now, the trailblazer, you wonder where they were hiding that machete before, when they pull it out somewhere, and they take you off the path. And so you got to be careful with trailblazers, but at the same time, every now and then, they will take you off the trail and you find a little whirlpool on Waldo Canyon in the Rocky Mountains. Like, you may find something really beautiful. So sometimes the trailblazers are nice to have around. Then there's the unprepared. This is a person that you've been talking to for weeks and weeks. You're like, would you like to go hiking? Yeah, I love hiking. Let's meet up at 7 in the morning. We'll get some coffee, maybe some donuts. We'll go over to the hiking trail and we'll take off. How long do you think we're going to be out? Let's do a full day hike. Let's get out there and just enjoy nature. Let's enjoy being together, the fellowship. We'll close it down. As the sun comes up and then the sun's coming down, we're back to the parking lot and we're going home. Well, if you're going to be somewhere for 8, 10, 12 hours, you probably need to think it through a little bit. And there's always this one person who shows up like, brought my coffee, let's do this. Like, are you wearing flip-flops? Like, yeah, I couldn't find my hiking boots, and I thought these were good. There's always the underprepared, right? Then there's the overprepared. And some of you guys, especially if you're the OCD type A people in your family, that comes with way too much stuff. This person also sometimes becomes a frequent break taker because they shouldn't have brought all that stuff. Like, when you go hiking, when you go backpacking, they tell you about, learning to turn your underwear inside out, that you saw off your toothbrush to make it about this big. Like, you're looking to get rid of as much weight as you can. But this person who's always over-prepared, they've got everything. Can't start a fire, no big deal. I brought my grill here, and let's just do this. Then there's the one, and this one is a little bit different, but you'll probably have somebody in your family, the one that smells like body odor and patchouli. Anybody have like that in their family? Like they go on the trail, sometimes they don't wear shoes at all, and they're just enjoying everything, and you're like, you're probably enjoying this a little too much. Like the colors I know are extra vivid for you right now, but I guess let's do this thing. So you always have that person. Then you got the commando. This is the person that takes the job of hiking way too seriously. I mean, they're out, they come completely ready to do whatever needs to be done. They're walking around, they're eyeing other hikers. People aren't normally trying to kill you on state park hiking trails, but this is the person that's always thinking in that context. And so you got the commando who's ready for everything. We have a few of those in our family, and we have a few of those in our church that I'm certain of. The next one is a super sweet one, and we all need this person. This is the mother of the group. This is the person that when you fall off a cliff because you were trying to be nice to let your wife pass on a narrow ledge, this is the person that says, hey, there's no reason for your nephew to take his shirt off. I brought some gauze bandages and some antiseptic. This is the one who takes care of you. This is the one when somebody starts lacking in the back, because hiking is super fun with people who are enjoying the moment until that one person just keeps taking breaks. And so if you're like me, even though I like taking breaks, I also want to do this trail and I want to enjoy this moment. So there comes this tension with people who hike that we start getting frustrated with that one person who won't go with the group. The mom will always, kind of flank back and get to that person like, it's okay. Are you having fun? Do you want some trail mix? Like that's the person who encourages the person in the back. Hey, you're still part of the group and we're still having fun and we're still they can't leave without us. You have the keys, And so we continue to walk. So you got the mother of the group. Then you have the good idea guy, whose ideas aren't actually that good. And people know that person. While you're out there, they come up with a great idea. I know the sign says no swimming, but we should go swimming anyway. I know it's been dry and there's a big red number 5 out on the trailhead, but you guys want to start a fire? Want to start a little bonfire, just something to roast some marshmallows over? Hey, you with the giant bag, do you have some marshmallows? Like, yeah, I got all of it. Graham crackers, marshmallows, sticks for everyone. So this is the person who always has the good idea that isn't actually that good of an idea. Then there's the seasoned hiker. This person who they know what they're doing as soon as they get out of the car. Like, as soon as they get out, they actually have a real hiking pole. Like me, I've got hiking sticks. Some of you have hiking sticks. This is the person with the trek poles. They know what they're doing. They've got the backpack. They're sipping out water from a little bladder they've got in the back of their backpack. This is the person you kind of want to hang out with because they know where they're going. And I'm almost done here. Then there's the regretful hiker. This is the person in your family that kind of hates doing anything anyway. And so you say to them, we're going hiking this Saturday. Would you like to go? And they're like, I was thinking about just sleeping in and not going hiking on Saturday. And be like, well, you should go hiking with us. And so they show up, and somewhere along the trail, it becomes very obvious they wish they hadn't came. They wish they weren't with you on this stupid hike. It's not actually that pretty anyway. And I just want to get back to the car. How much longer do we have to walk? This is very similar to the next one, which is the complainers. This is the person that as soon as you get to the parking lot, they start complaining about something. Where's my backpack? Mom, did you pack my backpack? Where is it? I put this picture here because these are sweet little pictures. But as you look at them, if you're a parent or a grandparent here today, look at that. Isn't that sweet? The left one, 3 little kids getting ready to go on a hiking trail with their mother. And then this mom's taking her teenage daughter out on this beautiful hiking trail. And what a beautiful picture. Unless you're a parent and you look at that and you're like, ugh, pass. Because it looks great here. Just give them 30 minutes. And then that mom is going to be like, this was dumb. I should not spend time with you guys. I should go hiking with my friends. Like I shouldn't be here because it doesn't take long for little tiny legs to get sore, and then they start complaining, and then they got to go to the bathroom, and you're like, hey, you're a boy, there's bathrooms everywhere. And then the little girl's, what am I supposed to do? And, so there's lots of complaining. And then finally, it seems, this is a pretty specific story for me, is there's the asthmatic that forgot their inhaler. I don't know if you ever hiked anyone like that. What I did find out, nurses who's in here, if you have asthma and you have an asthma attack on a trail and you forgot your inhaler, can you use someone else's inhaler? Who says yes? No. I sure hope so, because I had that happen one time with a teen group, and the girl's sitting there having an asthma attack. It's like, anybody got an inhaler? And she's still alive today, so I guess I'm kind of a hero. But the fact is it's not just the issue that they're unprepared, it's the issue that they have some things that could go wrong if they don't get it all together. All right, now this is going to be a different kind of sermon today, because I'm going to flip all this around and help us understand that we're on this journey together. And here's what that looks like. Back to the beginning. There's the self-appointed line leader. In the journey of walking with Christ, you're going to find people that are self-appointed line leaders, maybe before they're ready to be a self-appointed line leader. They're with us on this journey. They're trying. Maybe their heart is right. Maybe their heart isn't right. But they want to lead. They want to help us. And we're on this faith journey, the spiritual journey together. They're ready to be the leader. You've got the person who's the Speedy Gonzalez, the person who's they're just running down the trail. And as we walk this journey, and the reason I share the scriptures with you first is, remember, the focus of today is the one another's, the one another's, the one another's. And so the Speedy Gonzalez is way far in front of the one another's. And so sometimes that's not always a good thing, because they're just going too fast. Then you've got the Slowpoke Rodriguez, who moves too slow. And we're saying, hey, we're on this journey together as a church family, as a church community, as a faith community, and let's pick up the pace. Let's do some stuff together. Get up here with the rest of the group and let's enjoy this journey. Then you've got the self-appointed navigator. This is the person in a church or in a church family. Every now and then will be like, let's go this way. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. In a church family, we have one navigator, and that navigator is not me. It's not the pastor. It's not the church board. The navigator is the Holy Spirit that works in our life. And as he walks with us on this journey, we got to make sure that we're listening to the one voice that actually matters, because he does see the big picture. Remember when I talked about when I get off the trail? I never get off the trail. There's never an educated guess to it. There's never been one time in my life when I'm like, I know a shortcut. If I tell you, if we're hiking and I tell you I know a shortcut, here's the thing. I don't know a shortcut. I just think it's probably a shortcut, and I shouldn't say it with so much confidence. But there's people on our faith journey who will say it with such confidence, but our navigator, our guide is always going to be the Holy Spirit, so we have to go back to him. There's the one who's not in a hurry and just wants to enjoy the hike. Here's the deal, guys. We have people like that in our church family, and we need to embrace them. They're the ones who help us center in every now and then. They're the ones who help us just to slow down, get a cup of coffee, let's talk, let's have some fellowship together. Like, yeah, we're going to finish this hike eventually, but we got 30 minutes just to sit. We got 30 minutes just to be together. Look for those people, because they will help you get centered. They'll help you get back to where you need to be on our faith journey. Then there is the frequent break taker. This is the person in our church. This is the person in our family. Every now and then who's just like, I'm done. They're the people in any church that they do good for a little bit and then they're like, whew, I got to take a break. And so it's important for us to understand that sometimes people do operate at different speeds, and they move sometimes at their own pace. And so I'm not going to leave this dude behind. Now, the fact that maybe I get frustrated every now and then because he keeps taking breaks, he's still part of our group. He's still part of our family. So I'm not going to just leave him behind. In fact, I'm going to give the dude some water. I'm going to reach out my hand and be like, come on, man, let's do this thing together. I'm fat, you're fat, we can do it. I want to encourage him. I want to make sure that we do finish the trail well together. There's people, and you understand what I'm saying, there's people sometimes within our church community, within our family, that they just got to take breaks, and they take maybe too many breaks. Don't leave them. Like, don't forget about them. Don't get frustrated with them or aggravated with them. Reach your hand out. Give them a drink of water. Tell them that we're going to do it. Tell them we were going to do it together. If they can't move on any farther, we'll move at this pace together. There is the daredevil. This is the person who makes us all a little bit nervous. The person who how did you get over there already? So we got to be careful with the daredevils, but they also encourage us in a world of risk as well. Then there's the trailblazer, the person who wants to go off and do their own thing, but they want us to come along with them. That it could be really good. Here's the thing, church family, we have some trailblazers. Sometimes we get off the trail and we kind of regret it. Like, man, we sure messed up. Here's the great part. If we got off the trail, all we got to do is get back on the trail. Like, we're probably not lost. We're probably not destitute out here in the middle of the wilderness. Let's just go back. We went too far. We got off track. And now we need to get back on the trail. Sometimes that person is awesome for us. We're praying right now about church leadership and team leaders. My prayer is that we have some trailblazers, some people who come into team meetings and be like, hey, you know what? Here's something I've been praying about. Here's a trail that I'd like for us to go down. And that risk, that little bit of adrenaline pumping faith, we need it within the church. We need it within our church family because sometimes they might lead us to something that we didn't even know that was there. And so they take off and they do their thing. There's the unprepared. We know who those are sometimes in our faith journey. The people that show up and they're like, I'm here. I forgot to get anything ready. I forgot to get anything prepared, but I'm here in this moment. Be thankful that they're there. I remember several years ago that I was preaching at a camp meeting, and we'd use those little, what we call them, Jesus Lunchables. The other day, I think I said that to you, but the little disposable communion cups. And so as we were there, we recognized in that moment that we had more people than we had disposable communion cups. And so I'd had them hold on to those elements until we get to the end. And this wasn't planned, but it became one of the most powerful moments that I've ever witnessed and participated in as a pastor, as an evangelist. And so I told them at the end to hold on to those elements, recognize that not everybody got one. And so then we did something a little bit different. Rather than just opening the pack and you taking the wafer and put it in your mouth, I encouraged everybody, it's like, open the pack, break that in half, and share with the person next to you. Because isn't that really what we do? Isn't that how we share Christ? Like, we don't just keep him all to ourselves. It's this idea that when I see that you're unprepared, when I see that you don't have what it is you need and we're on this journey together, I don't just sit over there enjoying my snack, my trail mix or whatever. I'll share it with you because you were unprepared. And the reason I share it with you, and it's a teaching moment, because the next time we go on the trail together, you'll probably remember, throw yourself a little bag of trail mix in your backpack, right? And we are all getting better together. What happens with this person is we're on the trail, we're on the journey, they didn't come prepared. I, as their brother or our sister in Christ, we share with them because we came prepared. And at that moment, they learn to be prepared. And you've set the example of not just being prepared, but you've set the example of generosity. So the next time we're on a trail together and they are prepared and the inevitable unprepared person shows up, who do you think might be one of the first people to go to them and share their bag of trail mix, right? So we are in constant learning mode together as we walk this journey. And then there's the overprepared. This is the person that and I sometimes, find myself here. This is a person who just overthinks everything. They want to be prepared for everything. And you know that on a trail, on a hike, on a walk, walking across an icy parking lot over to your house, like, you can't be prepared for everything. We don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes this amount of over-preparedness, if we're honest, if I'm honest, sometimes is because of a lack of faith in the one who's actually leading the journey anyway. I put way too much emphasis on myself. I think that I've got this. And the reality is, in our world, in our journey, we don't always have it. That's why we need each other. That's why we need the Lord. That's why we need the Holy Spirit to guide us. But we walk this journey together. I did put this down on purpose, the one that smells like body odor and patchouli. I put them there because this is somebody who's on the journey, but they're still on the journey. And we take them as part of our family. I said a few weeks ago, I want to make sure we understand this. The job of the church is not to fix people. That's not. We are called, the Great Commission is to make disciples, and we make disciples by leading them to Christ and helping them to know the words that he said. And we come to him in that relationship, and we continuously point to him. There are times in the faith journey that we look around. I love the dynamic of our church. I love the diversity of our church, that we're not all the same. We're not all at the same place. Some of us have been hiking for a long time. Some of us just got on the trail, and we're just trying to figure it all out. One of the things most important as a church is that we don't ever get to a place, and can I just tell you, Nazarenes were really bad about this. The phrase we use is cookie cutter Nazarenes. I don't want us all to look and think and act exactly alike. God made us with personalities, and he uses our experiences, even our pain. He uses who he's made us to be to make this church triumphant something beautiful, and to make this journey something wonderful that we walk on together. And so we don't want everybody to look and think just like us. And we need to show patience and kindness as people are on that journey. I don't care if you're wearing the same hiking outfit that I have. I don't care if you got the same kind of backpack as me. I don't care if your trail mix doesn't have any nuts and it's all M&Ms. You know, that sounds like a great trail mix. You don't have to be like everybody else. We're on this journey together, and we need to make sure that we show patience and kindness and love to those who are still trying to figure it out. The commando, we know who those are. I mean, they're ready for a battle. There is a battle to be fought. There are times that we have to step up and have some courage and have some backbone. I told you about it a little bit this morning. You want to go to battle with us? 8:30 Sunday morning, that's when we go to battle. Like, I'm not looking for us to come in and make a bullet point of, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this is how we're going to fix this, this, and this. This is how our church is going to move forward. This is how our church family is going to come together. We do that battle on our knees, as seeking him, the one who has all wisdom, the one who has all power in heaven and earth. There's the mothers of the group. Thank you, mothers, for always taking care of us. This is the person who's always watching. This is the person who's observing on Sunday mornings, that if you normally come in and you're all smiles and you're happy, but you come in one Sunday and you're just burdened down, the mothers of our group are the ones who see you, and they start praying for you, and they come and check on you. And then maybe even they bring you cookies. Oh man, Gary Lynn, she's not here. Gary Lynn, if you're watching, thank you for your cookies, and you're welcome to bring me anytime. And I'm feeling kind of down this week, so you can bring me some. But these are the people that will bring you the cookies. They'll pray with you. They'll send you the cards. We need the mothers in the group. We need more mothers in the group. We need more people to take care of others. We need people who will support those who can't do it on their own. This is the person that never leaves anybody behind, because they have that protective nature. They have that nurturing nature. The good idea guy, sure, every church has them. The good ideas that aren't actually that good ideas. But here's the deal. Keep coming up with the ideas. Keep praying. Keep seeking God, because the good idea guys who have awful ideas, sometimes if we keep on the journey and we encourage one another and we keep hearing from God, sometimes your good idea turns into a great idea, and God uses you to help us move forward as a church family. There's the seasoned hiker. This is a person who's been doing it for a bit. They're out here in our church family. We want to learn from you. If you've been walking with Jesus for 50, 60 years, we honor that. We affirm that. You know, doesn't mean we're all perfect. Doesn't mean we have it all figured out. But I want to learn. If you're here today, and I'm getting a few of them myself, if you've got some gray in your hair, or some loose hair that, you know, where hair used to be, you know, I want to listen to you. I want to know your story. You've walked this journey. You've been down this trail a few times. And it's important to hear the wisdom of people that have walked the trail already. And so we do that on this journey together as the church. You will find every now and then the regretful hiker, the person who starts the hike and they're like, I don't know. I don't think I want to do this anymore. That's the time for us to step up. You know, because the fact is they're missing the moments. I'm not saying everybody has to like hiking, but hiking is a beautiful thing. It's an awesome opportunity for us to enjoy nature. We see God's nature revealed through nature, this general revelation of God. It's this moment of us being together and helping each other. And there's the person who's like, you know, I think this is too hard. I kind of regret doing this. Things aren't working out the way that I thought they were going to work out. You know who they are. They're people and they have faith, and they come to Jesus, and they have an idea of what Jesus is going to do in their lives, and sometimes he does just that. But then there's the other areas of their life that they're like, I thought as a Christian that things were going to be better. I mean, I came to Christ, like, why is my marriage still rocky? I've given my life to Jesus. Why are my kids still acting the way they're acting? We can't guarantee that we're going to walk this journey with nothing going wrong. But when we walk it together, then when the person gets discouraged and they're like, you know what, I'm about ready to throw in the towel. I'm about ready to just give up. That's when we as the church family step up. We're like, don't give up. I've been where you're at. You're going to make it through. And in fact, we're going to make it through together. That's what the Lord encourages us to do. There's the complainer. Every church family, every faith community has them. It's just the nature sometimes. Some people just have a more pessimistic nature. And here's the deal. I've learned over the years that sometimes people just always see the negative side. Sometimes you can convince them that things are more positive. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes they see such a negative side, and they're a rain cloud. They bring everybody down whenever they show up. But they're still on our group. They're still on the journey. We're still on the trail with them. And so we can't just get aggravated and ignore them. We can't just avoid them in the hallways, because maybe there's a reason that rain cloud's always over their head. The reason I talk to you so often about getting to know each other's stories and why we're wearing these today is because I bet, and I almost guarantee, that if we get to know one another's stories and find out where we came from and how we grew up and where we grew up and the experiences we had, boy, if we could do that, what a church. What an amazing place on this journey we could be, because it gives us so much more grace for people. Every now and then somebody acts up, and they don't always act right. They say ugly things. But then when you know them, and you know where they came from, and you know what they've experienced, you find yourself not getting quite as aggravated or frustrated with them, because you know what they've been through. And we're on this journey together. And then finally, there's the asthmatic that forgot their inhaler. This is a person who might not be prepared, but they've got some issues. They've got some things that we have to take immediate action on, because it could really seriously hurt them if we don't do something. The schedule of the church family, the leadership of the Holy Spirit in our life sets the course for where we're going and what we're doing, and we're praying and we're seeking after Him. We have a schedule. We have an agenda to things that we do. In our church, we do calendars, and it's online. You can look at calendars. On a Sunday morning, which I didn't grow up with this, I grew up in the South, but on a Sunday morning, we have this order of worship that tells us, it just keeps us in line where we're going to go. But, well, we talked about this last week at a worship team meeting. This is our best attempt at honoring God. We want to give excellence to Him. But if the Lord shows up in the middle of this, well, we don't need this anymore, right? Because His agenda is more important than our agenda. And what He wants to do in us is more important than what we think we need to be doing at that time. And what sets the course of our church is not that we do this on Monday, that we do this on Tuesday, that we do this on Wednesday. When someone within our church family has a need, that takes precedence over everything else, because we're on this journey together. It means that we have to stop the journey for a moment. That we can't just keep moving on, because we're not going to leave this person behind with their problems and with their issues, because it could cost their life. And so when we as a church family get to this place and we see somebody with need, understand this: we can have orders of worship, we can have calendars, we can have plans, but God has put us together on this journey for the fact that when that person gets to a place of need, we as the church family need to respond to that. Does that make sense? So we are helping each other on this journey. Here's the deal. This is the core value, and I'm wrapping up. We're not always going to like the people we're on the trail with, are we? And we're not always going to agree with the people that we're on the journey with. There are people who want to take us down trails where there are no trails. There's people who want to go too fast, and there's people who want to go too slow. There's people who complain. There's people who don't have the energy or stamina that we do. But the church and the church family means that we're all on the same journey together. We might be at different places of the trail. We might bring different things to the trail. We might have a different kind of backpack or a different kind of hiking stick or a different kind of trail mix, but we're all on the trail, walking with Jesus, moving through this world, trying to advance the kingdom. And one day the trail ends when the pearly gates open up and our Lord says to us, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. I'll make you rule over many. Welcome home." And so the trail ends when we all get to heaven. What a day of rejoicing that will be, right? But the church is not lived in individuality. When we talk about worship, I want you to worship God with you and with you and with you. Everything in the New Testament where Jesus refers to those who follow him, and every time you read through the epistles when it talks about the church, it never uses the pronoun in a personal sense. It's never just I or you. It's always this idea of we and us. Even the prayer that we'll pray here in just a few minutes. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Here's the deal. The reason we need this is because these are our people. These are the people that we're on the journey with, and whoever walks through that door and comes into this church, they've joined the journey, and I want to know their name, and I want to know their story, and I want to really get to know them. And when they fall, I want to put my hand out. And when I fall, I'm expecting their hand outreach for me. Understand? That's the journey. That's this core value, as that we are on this journey together. There's no person that we're going to leave behind. I want our worship team to come. We're going to sing our final song, Good Grace. And then Rachel's going to come and lead us in the Lord's Prayer. This song just says this: people, we're on this thing together. We're working it together. Here's my encouragement to you. Instead of just a regular altar call, because this has been a different sermon, I understand. I want you to do this, not awkwardly. I don't want you to stare at somebody, but I want you to look around. This is your church family. We're on the journey together. I want you to look around as we sing this final song. And I want you to see, is there somebody in this room that they're struggling on the journey? Is there somebody that's sitting in these pews today that they're going through some stuff? First of all, I want you to pray. I want you to pray for them. Just right there in your seat. Could we maybe consider taking another step if the Lord leads? Could we give a hug? Could we say, hey, can we do coffee this week? Could we maybe talk to him for a few minutes? I recognize today we have youth group, life group right after church. There's no other life groups going on. What that means is we don't have anywhere we need to be real quick. It's okay if you want to take some time. One of the things that I've said on many occasions is that you determine a successfulness of worship, of us being together, by how many people hang out after church. It's a thing that we talk about as pastors, that if we dismiss at 10:59 and everybody's gone out of the parking lot by 11, we got some work to do. If you got somewhere to be, obviously go there. But this is our family. We need to check in. We need to get to know one another. We need to know each other's names. We need to know each other's stories. We need to be on the journey, on this trail together, and help each other and love each other and be kind to one another. You are kind. You're a kind church. But I'm encouraging you, let's invest more. Let's get to know each other better. Let's help each other on this journey.